And a very warm welcome from Cape Town in South Africa. I'm your host, Brigetti Limbanda, and my co-host is Viola Manuel, and our amazing guest today is Tamsin Martin. It's day 6 of the lockdown in South Africa, and we're just doing a check-in with our community and with each other to see how things are going. Welcome, Tams. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. Tell me,
I'm
how's your
good,
day
yes,
been,
I'm good.
Brigetti? You've been good?
Today was good. We planned, I find one's got to be incredibly organized. And so today was clean the house day. So that was my preoccupation for today, was taking care of laundry and cleaning the house, so that's out of the way for this week. And I feel I can reboot from tomorrow and carry on. What did you do today?
So I have planned clean the house for tomorrow. I will give you an update on that. And I did gardening today because I had to start like sweeping outside and watering plants and doing all of that. And I'm finished. It was the most incredibly, like it was hard work. I mean, I had to carry buckets of water and, wash off the porch and wash off the garden furniture, and it was hard work. I was so tired. I was so tired by this afternoon.
Well, you know what? If you think about it, the gyms are not operating. You can't go to gym, and so Plan B is clean the house, do things around the house, and that's your exercise for the day or for the week.
Yeah, but
It's one way of getting around it.
Yeah, there was no muscle memory here. There was absolutely no muscle memory. I was so finished. I was so tired. It was crazy. Tamsin, can you hear us?
I think Tamsin's got some. Oh,
There
there we
she.
go.
Tamsin, can you hear us?
Tamsin, perhaps if you can hear us, could you try going out and coming back in again? I want to say welcome to our live audience on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter and on YouTube, of course. A very warm welcome to the show. Let us know where you are joining us from, and also let us know, are you currently able to work from home? What it is that you do. Can you work from home? Have you taken your business online, or has your business come to a grinding halt? I've spoken to a few people today, and it was really sad for, in a couple of instances, learning that people's, their business came to a grinding halt because not everyone can work from home. That's the sad part of it.
That's true. That's very true. And I'm also finding that, just with watching a lot of sort of television and updates on the coronavirus, one thing that I'm finding is people are now being educated and informed on how the food chains are actually working and how supply chains actually work. There was a beautiful piece on a oyster farm that's completely dead. There's a major supply of oysters, but they really can't go and get those oysters because there are no restaurants that need the oysters. So I think people are starting to really understand the difficulties of small business and how small business actually operates. And if that, that's a good thing for people to start being informed on how small business operates. Tamsin, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so tell us about your day. How was your day today? What did you do?
Okay, Tamsin's going to take a little while to catch up. Oh, there we go.
Today, to do a little bit of everything.
I think Tamsin is having a bit of a challenge with her internet connection there. So Tamsin, we'll give you a bit of time. We'll carry on chatting while you see if you could sort out your connection, because we can't hear you. Something's gone wrong there, and that's just the nature of the beast. So let's say hello to Sivu. She says she's getting used to the lockdown, and sometimes she struggles with concentration because of the children. And I think we spoke about that before. You know, the struggle is real. Just trying to make that adaptation of trying to work around your family, especially if you've got young children there. And Glenna says she's joining us from the USA, and she's also working from home.
Yeah. So one of the things we were talking about in terms of the kids is to actually try, especially with the work that you're trying to do, plan activities for them that will give you an hour or two as a break. And the other, I think, was great tip. I think it was Lynn that gave us that tip. She's actually got headphones for the kids, and she just hands them headphones, and so they can be in the same space. They can be watching videos. They can be playing games. They can be doing their thing, but the noise level's not that high. Although I must say, Shay uses headphones and he still screams and carries on. So we're in different sides of the house at the moment. But it is difficult to concentrate with the kids because they don't seem to have any concept of the fact that, I'm in a conference call, you can't actually come in and disturb me. So I think some of the kids are finding this whole situation of having mom at home or dad at home and not having complete access to them. It's quite difficult for kids to make that adjustment as well. So, Siva, good luck. Try our tip on just, sort of planning the day and planning activities for them where they can be independent, and then just try and make those two things work together, align in some way or the other, and let us know how it goes.
And I think another tip when it comes to children, especially if they are young children, that you can't really, with older children, you can bribe them, you can negotiate with them, when you've got a meeting. But with younger children, I think a great tip is to try and plan your meetings for times when they're going to be exhausted, because you know your children roughly. So try and plan your important meetings for when it's their nap time. And then exhaust them, make them tired, spend time with them, play with them, rough them up a little bit. Well, not, play with them. And then once they're tired, set your meeting for the time when it's nap time. I think that's a nice practical thing to do.
Yeah.
And then,
I can just hear moms out there going, my child doesn't nap. I can just hear them saying those things. So you know what? And if all else fails, just say to the people who are online with you, I'm sorry, I'm going to be, my kid is around, is probably going to disturb us. Because that's another thing we've said on the show is that now with video calling, you're actually inviting people into your home and people are in your space. And I think, clients and colleagues and so on are quite open to the idea that, these disturbances will happen. And that, you're just managing the expectations at the beginning of the call to say, you know what, I'm probably going to have a 5-year-old coming to ask me for chocolate milk, just please excuse that. I think that's where we're at right now.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what I think, one thing we can, especially with young children, if your child does come in, they're more than likely to settle down a lot quicker if you pick them up and put them on your lap for a second, or even sit with them on their lap if that's going to keep them quiet, than trying to shoo them out of the room.
Yeah.
That's actually more disruptive than if you had a child that's comfortable sitting on your lap and being quiet with a puzzle or something, because that's more comforting to them. So, see your child, do what works for your child, and shed the embarrassment of having your child there. We all know this is what it is.
That's right. I think those are one of the lessons that I've learned from having all these conversations, is that we just have to breathe. We have to recognize that it is what it is. And we've just got to recognize that, things are going to be difficult, and just manage expectations, I guess. Say to people, look, I've got my 5-year-old or my 15-year-old or my 60-year-old husband that's going to disturb us, whoever it is, just anticipate that it's going to happen. There she is.
Am I allowed to come back?
Yes, you are, Mrs. Martin.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Tell us about your day, Tamsin.
I had quite a good day. I managed to do quite a bit of everything. Working from home, you still have to consider, are there enough groceries and everything in your place? Are the kids sorted? And I made a joke last night asking my social network if chocolate is considered to be an essential item. So I go out to get some of that today.
We should have chocolate delivery as an essential service.
I agree.
Yes, yes.
It's essential to your ability to be productive.
Yes. Tell us,
Yeah.
Tamsin, how's the whole lockdown affecting your business?
Luckily for me, in both the businesses, look, I've got.
Oops.
Oops, that was my stand that just went. I've got two businesses. So the one is a training company, and within BizXnet itself, a lot of my work is done through government tenders. And after the president's first announcement 2 Sundays ago, all the tenders were immediately stopped. And so we went into, the project manager and myself, immediately we went into meetings and we started brainstorming about how we can actually, what are we doing this time, since we're not allowed to call actual meetings. And of course, technology is amazing. So we can set up training with platforms like Zoom, and we can do work over WhatsApp, and we use a lot of video, etc. And then in the other business that I work in the real estate side, with Realtor of Excellence, we've always, in fact, we've been the first virtual estate agency in South Africa. And so we've always been set up regarding, with regards to the technology, to be able to work remotely and to be able to work not having somebody in your physical space. So on the real estate side, we are completely open for business. We do webinars of properties, we do virtual videos, and we can do pre-assessments. The banks, I just noted today, the banks have been absolutely amazing. A bond application that we sent through on Friday, in fact, on day one of lockdown. On Monday morning, I got a response from the first bank.
Wow.
The second bank through on Tuesday morning, and it's approvals. It's 100% approvals. So
Wow.
business is really continuing there as usual. I still go through my usual to-do list when it comes to that. So but it really hasn't affected the real estate side of my business that much, because we are equipped with our devices to be able to conduct business.
Tamsin, tell me, is that typical of the estate agent industry? Is that indicative of their ability to work through this lockdown period? Or is that only true for innovative agencies like yourself?
I'd say it will only be true for innovative agencies, and this is something that that your agency would have explored way in advance. Nobody worked towards or prepared themselves for something called COVID-19, but I think enough has been put in place in our agency to be able to operate despite the challenges of what we're going through at the moment. And there are agencies that are actually, unfortunately, not equipped to go through a time like this. And at this point, they are busy exploring and experimenting with different platforms.
Yeah, but the technology is quite old. I mean, the sort of virtual tours of homes and sort of pre-approvals by bonds and banks, that technology is quite old. What I wanted to find out from you is, Tamsin, how are you guys getting around viewing? So if people want to view a place, how are you guys getting around that?
Well, we've taken a stand not to do the actual viewings during this period. We will not do viewings during lockdown period. And so we basically, what we're doing in this time is staying in touch with the clients. They do have the virtual videos and photos of the properties. What we're also doing during this time is doing the pre-assessments. So that, and of course, could sign an offer to purchase that and saying that it's subject to them physically viewing the property. And so business can go ahead, they can sign the offer to purchase subject to that. We can start with the bond application process. And by the time lockdown is lifted, we could basically just go into a property, sign off that the client is happy because they have viewed the property, and the transfer process can commence.
So you can
Wow.
basically do all your paperwork. You can get all your paperwork out of the way during the lockdown period, and as you said, by the time it's lifted, you're good to go. That is amazing.
Good to go. And when you say paperwork, it's everything is online. We don't. There's not a piece of paper that I work with really in the real estate industry. We've got our online systems where paperwork or offers are loaded on all the clients' personal information. It's on this database, and it's an encrypted database, so nobody can get into the database.
Okay.
Now, Sivu asks a very valid question here. She first of all she says she congratulates you on being prepared for this kind of emergency situation. She says, how are you getting around with the cost of the internet? And do your employees get their own internet at home, or do you subsidize that in any way?
That's a great question.
So the way we are set up in, I'm assuming you are referring to the real estate business. The way we are set up in real estate, because we are a virtual agency, everybody has an office from home. Or so we just work wherever we are, and we take care of our. So, for example, my internet at home is covered by me. It's part of my business expense, and so the company doesn't necessarily subsidize that for us, but we have more perks in terms of our what we get paid out in commissions, so that we can actually take care of an expense like our data or our Wi-Fi.
But it, yeah,
No, 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 go ahead.
it's a very important point, because even for SARS, if you submit your tax return at the end of the year for your business, saying to them this, I have a home office. This is they want to know what the rates and taxes. You can submit that. You can submit your Wi-Fi expense and any other related expenses to working from home. And I think it's very important that small business owners who are now working from home and actually thinking of making it a permanent thing, that you take note of that when you supply, when you submit all your paperwork for your business tax purposes to SARS, that you include your Wi-Fi expenses, because that is a good way to also get back on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. It must be so. And when it comes to that, you just basically keep proof of all the expense that you had with regards to that as a budget item, so that it can be submitted to SARS. Another great thing about what's happened now is that because we are a virtual agency, we work from wherever we are. If I am at home, that's my office. If I'm sitting in a restaurant, that's my office. So none of our agents have a problem right now with rental in big malls and shops and shopping centers, etc., because the doors have to be closed, right?
Okay.
And so we don't have that expense in terms of paying rent because we are a virtual agency.
Okay. That's interesting.
That must affect the larger estate agencies. Though it'd be great to hear what how they are coping. The ones that have offices in big malls, and that didn't have this infrastructure that you have as a smaller estate agent, to be so quick to go online and continue working. To be that agile is amazing. And I think in some ways it's easier when you're an SMME. But again, I just wanted to stay on the question of the cost of the internet. I know that I've seen a few people asking the service providers about meeting people halfway, because right now every Dick, Tom, and Harry and his uncle and aunt and cousin and nephew is on the internet. And if anyone is making money right now, it's anybody offering services that's related to being online, including our service providers, our that for internet services. So they are coining at the moment, and it would be
Yes.
really nice if they could come to the party
Yeah.
and offer people some form of discount.
Absolutely.
Especially if you think of children now being online, learning online, your university students learning online, everybody's online. So if they could make some kind of concession, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I also that entrepreneurs or people who are working from home, when the cost is theirs, the expense is for their account, that they have to do their homework with regards to which service provider is offering what and at what cost, because it's it's not just how much is your internet or how much is your fiber line and you get it installed. We need to look at things like what is the upload speed, what is the download speed, what is it going to be used for, and also what I know what a neighbor of mine did in the week was she messaged me and asked what service provider am I using, and she wanted some feedback on it, and that's a good thing because if we are neighbors, then obviously the signal and the signal strength would be similar because we live in the same road. And I think so for anybody going out to do this now, do your homework, because the one service provider that she was looking at and that if she hadn't contacted me, should have gone with, when she explored the service provider that I gave her the details on, she saw that it was actually more cost effective for her to go that route.
Yeah. But Tamsin, you've always been quite tech savvy, and I know that that was actually how you actually got into this whole real estate thing, that you were actually offering them social media services or something like that. How are you finding that people are calling you for a lot of advice on how to actually do this whole transition to office space at home and technology at home? What technologies would you advise people to get involved with if they were working from home?
So for me, it's very important that, and you need to, so in terms of technologies, when you're looking at, firstly, if you have fiber in your area, without a doubt, I'd say switch to fiber. Select a service provider and go that route. Then secondly, with your devices, I always say that having a smartphone is not a luxury, it's an absolute necessity. So you must be able to click on your phone and do the same thing on your phone that you would be able to do on your laptop, for example. And if it's a iPad that you're using, same thing there. So, and I use a lot of apps and I make use of Google to the extreme. So when it comes to my Google Docs and my Google Sheets and anything that I can save in the cloud, I save in the cloud. And that's the one thing, because I still hear people saying that the laptop crashed and they were busy with their thesis or they were busy with an important proposal. And I'm saying, why are you saving on a hard drive? Save it in the cloud. So I would really advise people to start moving anything and everything that is very important to them to a cloud-based system so that they can access it anywhere. If it wasn't the lockdown period and I leave my house and all I leave my house with is my phone, I can access any and every document that I need in both businesses via my phone.
That is such a great tip. I think that is going to be our tip. We're gonna stick onto the post and onto the group. Very, very good tip. I think, and if you're not sure what all of that means, Tamsin's now spoken about the cloud, and you don't know what all of that means, and you're thinking, oh my word, I'm going to take an aircraft, all that kind of thing. It's not. There's a very simple explanation, and I think what you could do is do a little more research on it. Use Google. Google is our friend. Use Google, and if any of you are looking for more information on that, just drop us a message and we will make sure that we try and help you deal with that. But I think it's a great tip. get disciplined enough to stick as much as you can onto the cloud and not depend on your hard drive.
And
There's a
Tamsin,
new
what's
sorry. There's a new movie on Netflix. I can't remember the name of the movie, but Mark Wahlberg is in there, and he basically comes out of prison. And there is a very funny piece in that movie regarding the cloud. He's looking for some information. So when you watch it, think of me, message me. It's hilarious when the guy says to him, I can't give it to you now, or he says it's in the cloud, and he says, what do you mean the cloud? Find me the cloud, get me the cloud, because he wants this information. But watch it and message me when you get to that part.
Okay.
Tamsin, what software are you using to communicate with your colleagues? When you do video conferencing and have your meetings, what software are you using to do that?
We use Webinar, we use Zoom, and of course WhatsApp.
Okay. Tamsin, tell me how are you coping at home? Is everybody at home now? How are you coping with having the kids? Because one of the things we were talking about is, especially for people who are used to working from home, you're used to working from home and being on your own. Now
Yes,
you at home and there's
yes.
everybody there. What did you say? Tim, Big Tom and Harry and the granny and the auntie and everybody's there. So,
Everybody just, it's a big jaw. Um, and today it was quite interesting because today my husband worked from home as well. So it was like my office is usually sufficient for me alone. And today he was in the office, and I just feel like there's been a whirlwind through here because both of us were working in this space today. But I just found that at the beginning, in fact, the kids finished up, I think, 2 weeks before lockdown or a week before lockdown. So they were already at home. And at that point, I really realized, oh no, we're going to have to put some routine in place here for everybody so that everybody still stays constructive and stimulated. And so we've got a study that we do every afternoon at 2 o'clock. Everybody stops whatever they're doing. We get around the table and we do this study. And then also I said to them that from Monday onwards, I'm going to give them online courses to do. Me and online, do everything online.
shame, these poor
And
children.
yeah, no. And Joel looked at my son looked at me today because his life is online games. And I said to him, but it's an online course. It's just as exciting. So I am going to start the online courses with them on Monday. And they just looked at me. But I said to them, you cannot, or to him mostly, you cannot be playing these games day and night. I mean, they play almost through the night. And so I need for him to be doing something constructive. And then I actually find that my to-do list is even longer now because now I'm doing the housekeeping in business. So now I'm cleaning up things and my petrol logs. I have 2 petrol logs I have to do for SARS, which is a pain every year. And so that takes up days, and we just concluded that today. I say we because I dragged my mom into it and I dragged Amber into it. And I just feel that in a time like this, we have to empower ourselves, we have to educate ourselves. I think a bad stance for any entrepreneur is to treat this time as a holiday period, because there are things that you can think about and do now more clearly than what you would have been able to do it if it was the normal business day or the normal run of business.
Agreed. Absolutely
A-
agree with that.
And do you do any video calling with your clients, or do you stick to telephone calls?
I'll do video calls, and for something like that, I'll definitely do WhatsApp video calling. If there is a request to do something like that. But most of the calls is voice calls. Most of the calls are voice calls. And the other thing is, you mentioned about the clients. My tip to entrepreneurs also is stay in touch with your clients during this time, whether or not there's business on the table. And when I say stay in touch, I don't mean to do any hardcore selling. People are riddled with fear and anxiety now, and the last thing they want to hear from you is a sales pitch. Instead, do soft touch points like, hey, or hi, Mr. and Mrs. So and so, thinking about you, hope you are doing okay during this time, let me know if there's anything that you need. It's points like this and gestures like this that's going to make your clients remember you. Once restrictions have been lifted and lockdown is long past, and it's something we speak about in the past, they're going to think about it at that point, because you did not do the hardcore selling during the lockdown period. We have to be empathetic, we have to feel with our clients, and we always have to put ourselves in their shoes. Is that something that you want to discuss right now? Possibly not. So just think about the things that you, when I say get in touch with your clients, think about how you're going to get in touch with them, what are you going to say.
I think we want to, it's a great opportunity for us to show our human side, because when this passes, people are going to remember how you made them feel at this
Right.
point in time. That's going to be, that's going to be a determining factor as to whether or not people are going to want to continue doing business with you.
Yeah.
So the way
Yeah.
you treat them now and make them feel is going to be very important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this has been great. Tamsin, thank you very much. I think there's some useful and very interesting tips that's come out of here. Thank you to our audience for the engagement. It's been fantastic.
Absolutely has been. And we just want to, in closing, remind you all that as the CuppaChino Club, we do not endorse fake news or misinformation or disinformation about the coronavirus. In fact, it's a criminal offense. We want to remind it's a criminal offense to share any fake news about the coronavirus. So be very careful, be thoughtful about what you say and how you say it and what you share. Hit the pause button before you share. I think
Yes.
we instinctively want to share things because we're anxious, but we really just need to pause and consider, is this helpful and is it true before you share?
Yeah, I just want to thank all the ladies on the CuppaChino Club WhatsApp group for just being amazing. As I've, since we've sort of been posting and talking about the fact that we are very aware of sort of fake news. I think it's important. I've just seen that there's a lot less posting. People are being aware of people's data usage. There's a lot of cooperation, and I think I just want to thank the club on this platform as well, and just thank them for being that considerate. I also think it's important for us to just note now that there's people are finding it very taxing. There's a lot of information going around, and it's just, I think, just be considerate of others. I think that's where we're coming to. But the one thing I do want to say to you is also be safe. There's a lot of people that are going to try and use this as an opportunity to engage in criminal activity. So they're going to knock on your door with some crazy story about why they should be allowed in your house. I know that there are sort of messages going around about people coming to do house-to-house testing. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. If your gut is saying there's something wrong here, then listen to your gut. And also watch the news. I'm just finding that the news is a great place. So News 24, formal news channels are a great place for you to get firsthand information. Don't always depend on the information being sent to you via a WhatsApp group. It's not always credible.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice to any final words in today.
Excuse me?
Any final words before we end the show?
Oh. Yes, I just want to say, firstly, thank you for the opportunity. And then for everybody who's tuned in, be safe, stay healthy. Let's abide by the lockdown rules and regulations. Wear your mask, wear your gloves, sanitize regularly, and then keep the faith and be positive. The one thing that we can do so easily during a period like this is get absorbed in the negative news. Refrain from that. I always feel that a crisis, there's always good that comes from a crisis. and I'm keen to see what good comes from COVID-19. We will see the other side, and restrictions will be lifted. And when it does, we need to be prepared to smile again, to sing again, and to show up and do business.
Yep. Yep.
That's
I saw you do your shout out there to your peeps. Thank you very much for spending some time with us. I'm really excited about our guest tomorrow. I've really been enjoying the show. It's really been worth putting on makeup every day. So thanks very much for being part of the show today. We've got another amazing guest tomorrow, so tune in again at around 7. We had a few technical difficulties tonight, but we hope to go live at 7 tomorrow. So please tune in. It was wonderful having you on the show, Tams, and thank you to the audience for listening. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. From Cape Town in South Africa, it's goodbye for now, and we'll see you back again tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you.